Emotion art, where we sit down and make art with our emotions.
Emotion art.
Creative energy moving outward in conscious expression of feeling.
Emotion art.
Emotion art.
Emotion art.
Emotion because we are literally made of emotion. Art because everything we do wants to be art. Emotion art. Feels.
Emotion art. It's all beautiful. Emotion art. Emotion art.
A space for emotional art. Creative energy moving outward in conscious expression of feeling.
Emotion art.
An emotion art gallery.
This is emotion art.
You're welcome.
I would like Adrienne and Mark to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about Conundrum House before we start.
Why don't you start? Because if I start, I'll just keep going and then you won't have anything to say.
I identify with that.
Follow that. Mark Vanderpool. I'm the co-owner with Adrienne Fritze of Conundrum House, a game and event space where our intent and motivation is to have people come play. And play in the sense that engage your brain in activities that you aren't daily engaged with. So you're using new pathways and new thinking. And sometimes that's just a game like Know Thyself, or sometimes it's a murder mystery dinner party where you're playing a role as a suspect. Role here in air quotes because there isn't any role, there's just a name. You're the know-it-all, pay me plenty, or you're the shyster lawyer, Brooke Lee. So in the sense that those are the roles you play, but you make up how you play that role all by yourself. And then we have various workshops and creative things happening around us and with us.
The scenario that we create, like the circumstance that we put those people in, that's where I love that storytelling piece, because storytelling, as all of us at this table know, is the most powerful tool that we have as human beings. Our business really is ignition and spark to have people come back into their bodies and into their communities and to be present to the power of the miracle of life. And I just kind of love the whole idea of manipulating words and pictures and now playful kinds of things to open us up to something brand new.
I'm also a writer and a maker and an inventor and an engineer and a programmer.
We're sort of what they used to call Renaissance people. I went to school for electrical engineering.
When did
physics.
anyone call people Renaissance people?
When I was
even in the
my
Renaissance,
20s
people
and my
didn't call themselves
30s.
Renaissance
Oh,
people.
but that name feels like it fits.
I mean, it's because each person is expressing themselves in every way available to them, I think is what Renaissance means in that sense. You know, in our society, I want to talk about Wounded Knee a little bit too, because yesterday was the anniversary of the massacre, and the land that had been taken has been returned to the Lakota people, and yesterday was a dedication ceremony. The last major massacre occurred there during the westward expansion, so it really marked the end of that struggle. I mean, it's just wrapped up in a whole bunch of stuff. But what we do, we as human beings, our intention is to free the world. And we think play, doing games is one of those. And the more I say we are able to provide the space, and whether it's here or here or here, the space to do these things, the closer I think we'll get back to realizing the miracle of being a living thing.
Oh, I love that language. The miracle of being a living thing. It's so rare to even exist.
It is.
And you brought up Wounded Knee.
It
feels like Wounded Knee is an anchor point for you in the healing you're trying to bring the world. So that means it's incredibly important to you. What is the importance to you specifically?
Well, that's where I spent my formative years. So my grandfather, even though he was Ojibwe, he had been exposed to the Lakota way through two people. One was Martha Bad Warrior, who was the last woman keeper of the sacred calf pipe of the Sioux, which is all of the Dakota, Nakota, Lakota people. And then he also met Dr. Charles Eastman, who was one of the first Native American Western medical doctors. But he was a product of the mission schools. He was fortunate in that his mother, who was a single Native American mother during all that stuff, she got a job at one of the mission schools, so she was able to keep all her children together. And they went to that school. Typically, you split up the kids because you're trying to indoctrinate them into other ways of thinking and being. She was just smart, and she figured out how to keep the kids together. So my grandfather kind of grew up in a Catholic school with these Native roots and the whole discordance between cultural ways. He was just trying to survive as an adult in this really weird world that he was in culturally. And he wanted to be a baseball player. He ran away from the school, joined the Native American team that traveled all over the U.S., slid into home base head first, was tagged, broke his neck. That process put him into the Western medicine world, which he wasn't supposed to survive. And then when he got out of that and was able to walk again, talk again, do all of the things you would not expect at that time for someone to recover from, he would do things like meet up with men of other nations, Native nations, and listen to their stories. And one of those men happened to be Dr. Eastman. Dr. Eastman is significant at Wounded Knee because he was the person who went and gathered together people who lived in the area during the massacre and helped tend to the survivors and do whatever little bit of spiritual thing they were allowed to do around burying the mass grave there. So Dr. Eastman, also traversing the two worlds, was pretty significant for my grandfather in gaining purpose beyond survival. So that was the first step. The second step of his expansion was when he met Martha. And Mrs. Bad Warrior, she was the carrier of the mores and the stories given to these people by the white buffalo calf woman. And that's a whole nother story. But being the keeper of that meant she was the keeper of world peace. She was the keeper of healing. She was the keeper of life itself. And so when my grandfather, who sought her out, met her, that was another stage, both in his healing, but also in kind of widening the gap between Western colonial life and Native life. So his attunement in terms of being Native ended up being with the Lakota people. So he ended up at Wounded Knee, where my great-uncle Clive, white man, married to Agnes, my grandfather's sister, were running the trading post there. And then, of course, there's thousands of other threads that come from that. But he spent his whole life there trying to collect the stories of the people. And they erected a museum, so the collections, people could donate their relics to the museum to tell the story of the people and the story of creation. So for me, the museum, when we moved there from Virginia, became this otherworldly anchor point in a life that was eluding me. By the time I arrived at Wounded Knee, I had already dealt with my dad. And I was a disassociated person. The abuse just left me unconnected. And it was these stories and these people who brought me to the world. And I saw things, just visions and like weird stuff. By touching the artifacts, I'd see whole stories, families doing things. And it was the first time I felt real. So that's why it's important. And playing was not something I did as a child until I got to Wounded Knee, and then the play was weird. We played cowboys and Indians, and the Indians played the cowboys, and the white kids played the Indians. But the thing I loved most was the horses and the dogs and nature and being able to just ride for hours and find stalactites in the creek bed, or drinking out of the cow troughs and the horse troughs in the pastures, like any physician today would say, "What, are you nuts?"
Your immune
That's why I'm
system is
robust.
yeah, your immune system is strong.
And I'm still dealing with the fallout of all those experiences.
Because you were there
I was there
for.
not too long. I mean, 5 years, because then the thing happened with the American Indian movement.
And you were a part of that.
And you were a part of it.
Well, I was the youngest hostage.
Oh boy.
I was 12. And I already saw, like with my father, I understood the impact of trauma. I didn't have the words, didn't have the language, didn't have any of that stuff, but you could see, as a child, you can see what's happening in your world. And
An understanding without language.
exactly. Or understanding enough. Abuse and alcoholism and drug addiction and all of that stuff was really out the roof. The poorest spot in the nation was right there, and all of the angst and anger and sorrow and grief that this country was usurped by. I'm not going to say founding, because that was not the founding of this country. Sorry, folks out there, but it was already being tended to. But the concentration of that was there, and it was epitomized by the massacre. So the massacre used to be called the Battle of Wounded Knee, and even as a kid, I'm like, what battle?
Yeah.
There was no battle. There was a massacre, and that was my family's stand. You know, there was a massacre. They worked with the government to change the signage so it was appropriate. And then the museum, of course, itself was the epicenter for me of understanding, beginning to understand. I still don't really understand. But Wounded Knee is in the realm of existential spirituality. It represents a decision point that we have an opportunity to use for something different. I just know that many of the folks that I'm still in touch with are still recovering from that whole experience, because the violence that was part of that movement, well, violence begets violence. It's in its own petri dish, and it grows faster than any other thing, it seems. And the kids on the reservation had already endured enough violence from the church, from their parents. Kids had no control over their lives. And, you know, you became kind of a mini version of what was going on around you, and you would find yourself choosing things that you really didn't want to choose in any moment. You just wanted to play or learn or whatever there was to do. And you didn't get to do it. It was so not what we needed. The kids. It was a great opportunity if you were violent.
And hurt people always hurt people.
Yeah.
The cycle continues.
Well, not always.
You don't think so?
I think hurt people can hurt people, and I think hurt people can also heal people.
That is a fantastic distinction. Hurt people either heal or hurt. Yeah.
And there's probably a whole panoply of choices in between, right?
And every
The
human's in
spectrum
there.
is huge.
Yeah. Fine.
But I suppose from a Buddhist perspective, it comes down to love or fear. Where are you operating from?
And that's something I was thinking about as you kind of told that narrative, after saying what your mission is on the earth, to heal, but also to create play and to network, to connect. And you're coming from a disconnected and terrified upbringing. There is so much story in there. It would take more than one sitting just to go through that story?
I've been asked my entire life to write a book about the experience, and I'm like, yeah, haven't been
How?
able to.
How do you even start that? Yeah.
So all of that, talking about Conundrum House.
I would really love to dive into that either right now and put this game away or on another day.
I really want to play the game because you showed up with it at our place.
Yeah.
And I think you were levitating in your chair. Seriously. Like the energy coming off of you was like, this is my favorite game.
Yeah. He gets
Right
a little manic about things.
I mean, it's
So
called
I started
Know
wanna-
Thyself.
Yes, I think we should dive into it because I think this can lead us to bigger conversations about Conundrum House.
Yeah.
Which,
And will you come back and share more of your story? Do you feel comfortable sharing more of the story of Wounded Knee?
sure, maybe beyond Wounded Knee.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm trying to suss through all that stuff. Each of us is trying to kind of sort through the experiences we have and the thoughts that come from that and the emotions and then the choices we make and the impact of those choices, and sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's really bad. And so I'll come back if we think this will give people freedom. How's that as a deal?
Perfect. There's no point in doing anything if it's not giving people freedom.
Okay.
I mean, to me.
The biggest thing that I've learned in this podcast is that I might not have a story like yours, a Wounded Knee story, but I have a story that has deep impact and deep pain and deep trauma. Michael does too, and Mark does too, I'm sure. We all have the story, so even if it's the details are not the same, the feeling is very much the same.
Yeah.
And having those open and thoughtful conversations about the big trials and triumphs and questioning moments, even still, like you said, you're still working through it. I think we're all working through it. We're all working through whatever it is that came before this.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. It's kind of obvious. The whole world, just from a political standpoint, which is one of our many forms of expression, is so clearly showing us, here's what you can choose to think and do and be.
Right. So I think it's inevitable that your story would be healing. For even if it's just healing for you or healing for me or for Michael, but also the web of community that we are growing.
Because it's kind of like an allegory for life, where you have this distilled experience where lifetimes are experienced in this terror, lifetimes of terror, lifetimes of dysfunction, lifetimes of whatever you experienced. And I feel like having those distilled stories creates the allegory for everybody else that's looking for the language and the words for what they're experiencing, even if it has nothing to do with it. It's a lifelong aggregate of dysfunctions and fears and stuff.
Hearing somebody else talk through their feelings or talk through their question marks is always helpful. It's always healing.
Yeah,
it's always freeing, because you might just get one word or an understanding of one piece of what's happening in your own self when you hear someone else speak.
Yeah. I want us all to remember that there's more than just the fear and the terror.
Yeah.
There's the courage that was present. There was the alacrity, the facility to be able to respond at any age, regardless of where you were in your development. Like, being life is that resilient, amazing, like the energy of your levitation is really what kept me waking up in the morning and moving out into the world, and then doing things that are uncomfortable, but I felt were important, like talking today.
And building a life that is full of play and art and expression.
Yeah.
All of those things that helps you work through.
And I have to credit Mark. We haven't talked to him much, but I have to credit him with the play piece, because I didn't come with play. Play is not inherent to me. It's very uncomfortable. Even the fact that we're going to play this game is a very uncomfortable thing for me, because it's outside of my my brain function because my brain does not function playfully. It functions as a machine that is constantly taking in data, making meaning out of that data, and then navigating whatever circumstances coming at me while trying to keep the old circumstances from nipping at my heels and pretending that I'm not powerful.
I relate
that's
to
what
that
that-
very much.
Yeah, so
My brain does not function as a play being very often.
Yeah,
It's very rare.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I like role playing because it's so much closer to life.
So we're crediting
Mark,
Mark with play. Yeah.
Tell us about play and how hard it's been to introduce it to me.
So one of the challenges is the language itself. Like when I say play, people already have a complete understanding of what that means. That means for them, Monopoly or chess or soccer game, right? Which is included in play, but that's not the play I'm speaking of. The play I'm speaking of is the play where you are, as a child, discovering the world. You go out, mom says go play, right? And you don't say, what am I supposed to play? I don't know how to play. Teach me how to play, Mom. Come on, give me some. No, you already know how to play. You go out there and you pick up a stick and you're Darth Vader or whatever it is that you're currently fixated on. And in that play, you're discovering stuff. You discover your own limitations, your own capacities, your own tolerances for stuff. You discover new ways of thinking and being and acting. And then, you come home, you eat. Mom says, what were you doing? Well, I played. Right? Well, what? Well, play,
Stuff.
Stuff.
Changed every minute.
I mean, that's how kids grow up. That's how kids learn. And then we stop doing it. We get given jobs, chores, careers, and that's now what we are busy with, and we stop playing. And then somebody says, well, you should relax more. Go play, right? But now we've forgotten how to do that. So now we do this other thing.
Or the play activities become really stressful because you have
Right.
to prepare for it and get your time set aside for it, and then you got to get the tickets and you got to deal.
Yeah.
It's
So-
just like,
Or you feel like you're doing it wrong because you're not.
There is that too.
Yeah.
Like kids don't go around shouting, you're doing it wrong. You're holding that lightsaber wrong, that stick wrong.
That's the wrong definition of play. If
Very
you're doing
much.
it wrong.
You can't do it wrong.
Yeah.
One of the other barriers to play is it's not important, it's irrelevant, it's frivolous. And then we just say, okay, well, I'm going to play for a little while, but then I have to go back to real life. What's that about? And then the other piece is that I want to avoid is come and be entertained, like have it be done to you. Like, oh, I'm going to watch a movie. I mean, if there's a really good movie, maybe you start thinking, but mostly it's just to fill in the time. So when we play, you are totally there, you're really there, you're engaged, you're solving the challenge of whatever the game is that you're doing. You get in relationship with people around the room, the table. If we did it well, you start thinking new things. Like you discover a new way of thinking or speaking or talking that you didn't know before, and you now have that. So you've got new pathways in your brain. Your brain actually excels at play. It's really, really, really good at playing. It can see a lot of stuff and find a new way to think about it. And that's what the brain really does well. And then we turn that off. And we go through life until we retire. And then
Humans are messy, emotional creatures that are also creative. That's what I hear in the play. It's creative. And we are taught, at least I was taught, to clean myself up, dressed right dress, everything in order.
You were taught play was very frivolous. It's not acceptable, really.
And I don't know if it's fair to say that I was taught, because I'm learning now that a lot of the things that I was taught are things I taught myself from assumptions. As a child, you don't know the difference.
Yep.
But I was not encouraged to play. I was pretty much not allowed to play. So that resonates with me so strongly. And I feel like right now in my life, I'm in the middle of a giant transformation. And among many other things, I'm learning how to play.
excellent.
This is one of my favorite games. Also, I like Know Thyself.
Yes.
Life is one of your favorite games.
Conversations, the
Yeah.
podcast. The podcast feels like a giant exploration to me. that's really how I'm figuring out how to play, learning to find the language. You can't play without language. You don't need words. I mean, I guess you can. You can play by yourself, but you're still communicating with yourself. I'm looking
Or
for
something
language.
else, right? I mean, because we're not separate
No,
from
no,
existence.
no, we're not.
You know, so we've never been alone. So when you are playing by yourself, even if it's cards like solitaire, someone created that game. Somebody manufactured those cards. Somebody distributed them. Somebody sold them. Somebody allowed you to open that box and touch those cards. That's an entire community of humans that are giving us opportunity that they don't even recognize they're giving us necessarily. And we think we're over here just kind of healing ourselves by being alone and doing the thing that we do by ourselves, which we are.
All alone.
All alone, though.
All alone. Solitaire is probably the game I've played more often than any other because it gives me the opportunity to listen, to just absorb the energy of what's happening around me without, if I don't have something to do, I'm going to sit there and just watch. I just soak in everything, and it makes people feel really uncomfortable sometimes. So it gives me a way to do the thing I want to do. And it's also very, it's meditative. You're learning things about yourself no matter what if you're in that meditative state. So solitaire is really one of my favorite games, to be honest.
But wait, you also said you're absorbing stuff. If you're playing solitaire in a darkened room all by yourself, I bet you don't have nearly as much fun as if you're playing solitaire at a table in a coffee shop.
You are correct. If I'm in a dark room by myself, I will not be playing solitaire. I will be sitting basically in a profound silence, exploring the universes, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it, but there are universes inside me. Mm-hmm. And I've only just stepped on the train or started the exploration or got out the telescope. I don't know.
Michael's favorite place to play solitaire is at the kitchen table when there's chaos all around him.
Oh,
Everybody
totally.
else is like conversation, side conversation. 5 people are playing different musical instruments. It's like a cacophonous noise. And his peripheral hearing is paying attention to all of it.
Yeah.
He's tracking conversations. He knows what's happening over there.
But
he's just playing solitaire.
It's so surreal to experience, and it's interesting that you say that because everybody assumes that I'm not hearing
that you're
anything.
like checked out.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I've just turned all my focus senses off. I mean, my focus senses are on the cards, but in the most minimal way, every other sense is pure periphery.
You could think of it as the gateway to non-overwhelm. Because your brain, I think, you're ADHD, right?
I'm not diagnosed.
Who cares?
But probably.
I am dysfunctional in certain situations because of how chaotic my brain is, if that's what you mean.
Well, but overwhelm is one of the things I've learned because I've only been recently diagnosed. What I've noticed with my brain is all of this stuff is going on and I'm interested in every last bit of it. And when I have something like I doodle, or I might do a paint by number. Those are my most favorite ways of focusing. It allows my mind to kind of cage everything else. And so if I'm focused there, all that chaos is no longer overwhelming because something turns on in a brain like ours. And you're able to calm yourself and still be able to participate in a listening way with everything else. And you don't have to act. You don't have to pretend that you need to say something over here and then respond over here. And because that's what we do. We're like always constant. I think it's what humans do. We're trying to fix everything or we're trying to impact everything.
Yes.
And for people with brains like mine, which I'm going to say is probably very much like yours.
Sounds like it.
It is very, very difficult to have 15 things happening in the room, which is why I don't like crowds, because you feel compelled to do something about all of them, and then you can't do anything. And so the solitary, for you, may be very similar to my doodling or my painting while I'm listening, or sitting in the back of the room and I'm concentrating on when we do our LARPs. I'm the background girl. I'm making sure all the information gets out and then I tell him to go talk to somebody, or if I'm comfortable with the person, I'll talk to somebody. But that's me, right? All this chaos is going on in the game. But as long as I'm participating in a way that's concentrated, I love it. If I don't, I hate it.
What that makes me think of, I don't know if it's connected or not, but one time I was at the Dirt Road in Philomath, the pub, and I was standing in the middle of the bar, and I just felt this growing pressure, and I started to have a panic attack.
Oh.
And I closed my eyes, and I could feel every person. It was like shock waves just shocking through me from every direction, and it was just like my throat started to close up, and I just had a panic attack, and I remembered in one of the thousands of podcasts or books or whatever that I'd been listening to and reading over the past 5 years, that this thing about protecting yourself from other people's energy by making yourself slick. Just simply imagining that you're slick, or imagining that you have a bubble around you that's slick. In some way making it slick so that the energy that hits you slides around. And so I was like, I went outside because you can't do anything in a panic attack.
Right.
And I calmed down a little bit, and I imagined myself being slick, and I walked back in, and it was peaceful. And crowds don't bother me anymore. They never did before either, until I started finding myself. And then you start to open yourself up, and you open yourself up to everything. And so then you got to learn to moderate that.
Yeah.
For me, it's that simple. I just imagine myself being slick.
I like the bubble visual in the Fantastic Four. Sue has what is that?
The
The
shield.
force field. Yeah, force field. I like that. I wish
But
I would have had that about 40 years ago.
Yeah, me too. But it's helpful now, and the feeling in being in a crowd, slick, feels the same. I've never connected it before, but it feels the same as being in a crowd playing solitaire.
The other advantage is solitaire is a socially accepted excuse to not be included in the conversation.
Or not.
No, I mean, it is. If people see you doing that, they don't assume you're part of the
that's true.
conversation.
They don't,
They-
unless they're the family, and then they do.
They just
interrupt.
most of the time people assume that you're not paying attention at all.
yeah, and it's okay. They leave you alone.
Yes.
Correct.
And then you don't have to deal with that interruption or explaining yourself. If you just sat there being slick, then they don't know that's what's happening.
Staring at people.
Oh, and then they just think you're like, it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I find myself, I will just stare at somebody. Not even, I'm trying to be more conscious of it because I care about greasing the social skids.
Why don't we give our kids that capacity to be slick? Like, why do they have to go through a lifetime of being uncomfortable until we discover for ourselves how to do it? And maybe it doesn't work. Each person has to find their own visualization of it.
Oh, there's so many answers to that question.
But why don't we just
One of the reasons is
practice
because
that
I
with the
want
kids?
them to do their laundry. So I don't want them to be totally slick from my words.
Oh, I see.
But yes, I think what you said the second part of that is very true. Everyone has their own way of walking through the world. Part of it is the language Michael found when somebody said it, but probably it had been said to him in any number of different ways before that. And it wasn't until he remembered that language in the right moment.
My answer to that would be, we do.
So there is that.
I mean, I don't remember being taught a lesson at school where the practice was be you and don't be impacted.
Yeah.
Well,
Same.
that isn't the lesson. The whole way that patriarchal, dominant, top-down society raises its children is not to be free, whole, safe. The language isn't what I just say to you. Language is how we act in public. It's how we act in our homes. It's how we act in our places of worship. It's the way we be in any situation. And I would say every human I've ever met has wanted to be beyond that. And many humans that I know, for whatever reason, did not take those steps to get beyond it. Because it's scary. I mean, speaking out about anything, our country is that way right now, right? You speak your mind, I don't care what side you're on, but you speak your mind, and there is a very good chance that you will be violated in some way. Yeah.
Yep.
I grew up in a situation where you spoke your mind or you told a truth, and violence was the thing that you received, either punishment or spankings or isolation. You don't get your dinner or whatever it is. It was a punishing response, which is rooted in violence and fear.
Yes.
Severe consequences.
Which is how I
for
was
speaking.
raised and how I started raising my kids.
Yeah, well,
I didn't know better. I thought that was the right way.
and even if you do know better, you find yourself doing those things that were given you, and those gifts. These are the dark gifts.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Those gifts are multi-generational. It wasn't your parents who gave it to you. They weren't the originators of that stuff.
They passed it on to you.
Well, sure, the conduit. Just like every human is a
Yes.
conduit for any kind of thing.
Boy, that's true.
And again, we think we're isolated and we're alone, and we're just like, it's like all these little blips in the universe, kind of up and down, and all that energy. And then there's like consciousness, and then there's just whatever there is, or however we try to describe it as human beings in our limited capacities. I mean, even in our bodies, we are billions of creatures. There's an entire universe inside your body. And these are not unknowing creatures in your body. They know exactly what they're there for. They know what they need. They know what they're requesting. They know how to move as a unit to make you act differently or become differently.
Or exist.
Certainly to exist. Yeah. As you know, when we first talked, I have this view of the universe as holographic. That every little piece that you look at is the whole, which is my basic philosophy. Where go the least of us, there go we all.
One more topic that we are going to have to talk about.
And, we have an opportunity to be responsible
Yes.
for that.
But what does that mean?
That's the question. It doesn't mean what we were raised with.
No, it doesn't, because we were raised to be clean and orderly and productive, because play is not productive. And when you're trying to build a human society, you have to be productive, and you have to have, a lot of dysfunctional, let's see, what is it? A masculine. It has to be masculine led. I'm just looking back in history, and for all of history, that's what I see. I see that, what did you say? The patriarchal, very patriarchal.
Well, there's pre-patriarch. So if you even think of the United States, right? Colonialism makes its way over here. For tens of thousands of years, this was primarily a matriarchal-led society. So this is one iteration. Like, we were raised in one iteration of what it is to be human. There have been other iterations prior to this one.
That's really interesting, because that feels true to me, but I've never thought of it that way. The historic accounts I read, I mean, it's a lot of men-led stuff. It's a lot of violence. It's a lot of destruction. It's a lot of like building and like everything that is the masculine energy stuff. But you're right. This entire continent, basically, like so much of the world was matriarchal, but being from where I'm from, I am trained to not see that.
Of course not.
Interesting. Being raised extremely patriarchal, conservative, you fill in the blanks. It's all there.
Yeah.
And there's no play in that. There just isn't. There wasn't for me.
Not the kind of play that I want to engage in, I'll tell you that.
No.
So what turned it on for you then?
What turned?
The actual thinking for yourself on, rather than following the railway tracks of your prescribed upbringing.
It was me. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it could well be you.
Probably.
I'm just joking.
Well, you sure helped develop
don't
it.
joke.
How long have we been together?
I think 12 years.
Okay. Boy, it feels like it's been more than that.
We've been through a lot of things.
A lifetime. It's been lifetimes. You were formative in our political discussions, because very liberal, very
I grew up
conservative.
very liberal, and thought the people
yeah.
who were conservative were stupid.
But to answer your question,
Like,
yeah.
how?
Go
What are
ahead.
you
Answer
talking
my
about?
question.
I think the nature of my upbringing made it inevitable because I was raised in cults, traveling, living, eating out of dumpsters. Like that was my most of my upbringing, and joined the Amish for 4 years, like old order Amish. Went to India as a school teacher and working in an orphanage with my dad's Christian missionary organization. Maybe that experience in India opened my eyes to some things. That's when I got into medicine. I went to school to be a paramedic. Came here, settled down eventually after I did a tour in Iraq with the army. Like I've experienced so many different things and been so many different people that it was inevitable that there came a moment where I said, wait a minute, what's actually going on? What of the stuff that's in my head is true and what of it is put there? And so I started to just get that idea. But there just came a moment where I realized that not knowing hurt too bad. I was in pain, emotional pain, everything in life hurt, and it didn't make sense, and I didn't understand it because I believe in a God that is love and is like, why am I not experiencing this? Why are these? And again, in all fairness, I'm looking for something extra. Always have been, but I was just standing on the street corner and I was like, I'm not a Christian anymore. I have to start there. So I don't think that really answers your question, but I don't know that there is better answer.
I don't know that there's one moment. I think it was like such a series of small pebbles that stacked up until it was unavoidable. Yeah.
Right, and that's the piece that I'm very curious about because right now every kid born in this society is on a track to be like their parents, like their dysfunctional upbringing is dictating them to be. Now, not all kids, of course, but that's what the system is set up for. Like, oh, here's a kid, let's make sure they become good workers.
Sit in a cubicle for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, and do that without complaining until we start, until they throw dirt in your face.
Until they retire.
But then every now and then there's somebody who, like you, went through the entire system, like real extreme versions of it. Like army and, missionary and cults.
Many different types of
very curious
cults.
about that.
And then you take a left turn.
Yeah.
And what
it seems like a left turn.
Yeah, of course.
It feels like a reincarnation to me.
Right. And what I would love is, what's that thing that is the seed of that had that start? And I want that to be like the centerpiece of the games that I'm playing with people that come to play. So they have that opportunity to play differently from here on out.
I think that that's such a scary thing for a lot of people to imagine. You basically have to disintegrate everything that you believe, everything you've ever known, question every single thing. And there's a good chunk of the population that I think wants to do that. People are doing that.
They don't know how.
Some of that portion, they don't know how, or it's too scary to do that, but some of people are doing that. And then I think there's another chunk of the population that doesn't want to do that at all because it means losing everything. You can lose everything.
Well, you do.
You can lose every relationship, you do lose everything. But that's a terrifying notion for a lot of people to willfully lose everything, including your connection to your own self, even though on the other side of it, it might mean that you know yourself better and you have more authentic relationships and you get to live a life that you're really excited about every day. It's still a very terrifying prospect.
So at what point did that terror arise? Kids don't go out to be comfortable in the play they're doing today. Like that's not on their, they don't even think about that. They're just going to do an adventure, whatever they do. And then they do different adventures every day and they invent new games and the rules change. The rules change from minute to minute sometimes. But they're never worried that they're going to lose themselves or they're going to lose their ability to play or that they're not terrified of this game they're just inventing. So at what point do we suddenly say, oh my God, I better stop doing that because I could lose this, whatever it is, this comfort, this thing, if I do that? And
I think that's the frog in the slow boiling pot of water. On that end,
Yes.
I think that that's the public school system. I think it's
Right.
society. I think that's a slow boil.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden you get to the point where you're like, ah, shit, I am not living how I want to live. And that's I think doesn't come until adulthood for most people.
I have one more thought about this, because I love Mark's question, because this is a question I ask almost everybody I interview, but it's the first time I've been asked it, which made me think, it made me understand why I'm asking it. Because as I search for an answer, I realized this is one of the things that makes up the chaos that I'm trying to play games like this to get through. It's surrender. My understanding and acceptance of the need for surrender, I feel like, is the thing that made me choose this path when the pain became so great that I had to make a choice, because I feel like I could have doubled down on the things I thought I knew, on the things I thought were safe, recommit to church, go to rehab, find a different marriage counselor, find some way to fix my marriage, I could have done the traditional midlife crisis and just become a very
Miserable
sedate
person.
Well, I was going to say a very calm and productive person. But the pain was too great, and
the pretense to become a calm and productive person.
that's what that's what it's sold as. But
Yeah.
The medicated version.
in so many ways, even without pharmaceuticals, though.
Yeah.
You
No,
just
it's
the
your
medication.
conditioning.
By watching Fox or CNN or watching, whatever, you pick your poison.
Right.
That's the medication. But the thing that I am most thankful for in my really chaotic and unusual upbringing is faith was drilled into me. Trust, surrender. And all of those words are interchangeable to me. All of that means the same thing. And I thought it was trusting God, the bearded God in the sky, because he's going to take care of me. But if I mess up, he's going to fuck me up. That's how I was raised.
Yep.
And I think that on that street corner, I did not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I didn't throw Christianity out for long, because it's part of who I am. And why am I going to put myself in a box of not that? It's not one or the other. It was I just am Michael, and Christianity is a part of who I am. But the surrender, just the belief in something bigger than me, even if none of it made sense. Different way to try to get at the answer to that question, but thanks for asking it. I appreciate that. And I'm going to be thinking about that for a while. Okay, so Know Thyself is a game we supported on Kickstarter because the visuals grabbed me immediately, and it was all about emotional archetypes, and they did a good job with advertising. So you've got just a question card, like how would you deal with this situation, or what do you think about this, just to get the conversation started. And then that's how you start your turn. Then you draw a archetype card that describes a personality archetype with a little description on it. Put that in the middle, and then everybody votes how well the focus lines up with that archetype card, 1 to 5 on the dials. And you vote, you put that down, and then
1 being it doesn't line up at all.
yes.
5 being that sounds exactly like you.
Yep.
Okay.
The first part of the game, though, is the pledge.
The pledge.
And this is something that I'll talk about quite a bit, because it sets the envelope for the game, the emotional envelope.
All right, start the game.
Okay, I am the focus.
As it should be.
I also agree with that. The question is, what's one aspect of your character you feel proud of? One aspect of my character that I feel proud of. Just curiosity is the first thing that comes to me, but I don't at all feel proud of it. I feel extremely thankful for it. Proud? Okay, what does proud mean? I am proud of... I don't have time to be proud of anything. I just love it all. I just experience it all. I don't know.
It says
What is pride?
what you feel proud in.
You must feel pride at some point.
Well, you must feel something.
Well, okay.
I think if I had to guess, you feel proud of your capacity to jump off the cliff, to go into the unknown.
Yeah.
What does proud mean? In my upbringing, pride is like there's a story in the Bible
It's a bad
about
thing.
pride that is they takes a garment, hides it in the mud in a riverbank for like a month, and then comes back and digs it up, and God's like, see, that's what pride looks like to me. I don't know what pride is.
What's one aspect of your personality that you are most excited about?
Or are happy that you have it.
So the thing that's popping into my mind is intuition, just the ability to read people. I don't know, is that a personality thing? No.
Well, you got to define what personality
Yeah.
is.
No, it's
too. That was my
it's just
very first
inherent
question.
to you, yeah.
So one aspect of my character, depending on what
your
character
character.
means, that I feel proud, depending on what proud means of, is my ability to read people. Scientist. An analytical mind guided by logic. You pursue truth and utilize personal experience to better understand the world around you. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
This one's going to be fun.
Okay.
Okay. At face value, you're not a scientist at all. Not at all guided by logic, but you're actually a 5. Because you pursue truth. I'm going to read it because I want to read it specifically. You pursue truth and utilize personal experience to better understand the world around you using your logic and your analytical brain. Not a scientific analytical brain, or not the way my analytical brain works or my logical brain works, but you often say something like, the way I understand it, what makes sense to me. So that is all still using your own analysis and your own logic to pursue truth. You also absolutely use your own personal experience to better understand what's going on around you consistently.
Very interesting.
I, on the other hand,
also hilarious.
I, on the other hand, chose 5. What I'm resonating with is a scientist fears being wrong. I mean, not fears, faces being wrong. Like they always have that option. Like, I mean, they just make some assertion, some hypothesis, and they could be wrong. And it doesn't stop them. They just keep, okay, I'll now make up another theory of how the universe works. And that's who you are.
A desire to be proven wrong.
Yeah, like just curious. Like,
Yeah.
okay, prove me wrong. Here's what I think. And then being completely open, sincerely open to what comes back at you.
That's very good. That feels very true.
Because then you learn something. Then you gain a new skill, a new little aspect.
Yep. Brilliant.
Interesting.
Okay, well, I didn't do 5. I also didn't do 4. I did the blank space between the two.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
Naturally.
Because you tick heavily in the inquiry world, which scientists are, the scientific method is based on inquiry and trial and error and comparing and analyzing and all that. And there is absolutely zero truth in pure science. All there is exploration, discovery, hypotheses, seeing what works, what doesn't, trying to explain all the basic little things. I also don't think I can put a number on this for you, because I don't think there is a number for you in the world of scientist per se. I don't see you necessarily writing in your lab book and doing all of all of the codification that comes along with being a scientist. I just don't see you doing that out here in this world. But I do see you codifying constantly up here, and you're comparing, and your brain, I'm going to say, probably functions faster than most people's brains, because you're looking at 15, 20, 30 different scenarios, and your brain is collecting all of that. Collecting, sifting through, okay, I'm going to try this, and you go there. But your brain is still working. It's still juggling all of those different concepts and ideas, and you absorb a lot of information. I know you read a lot, or listen to a lot of audiobooks. So I can't score you, even though I think you peg highly in the skill set of inquiry. So we could call it infinity, if you'd like, or zero. You choose.
Neither one of which is actually real. But,
Exactly.
Huh.
But
So-
they both help make math work.
Yes. they're
Well, there's
critical.
imaginary math, too.
I
Don't
picked a
forget that.
3.
Ooh.
Well, you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's a lot of word definition that throws me off, but I feel like I've been able to start actually pursuing truth when I let my brain turn off. And I know these are all just terms to speak about something that actually exists, but it feels like I was trying to store all the information. I was trying to do all of that process because I thought I was supposed to. And that was part of the deconstruction, reconstruction process, was realizing that this organ up here isn't actually what does thinking. To me, I don't think that the brain has anything to do with it. I think that it is kind of like it's a rendering agent, number one, if you believe in a holographic universe. It gathers raw data, really, and it basically is run by emotions, which is where all the processing happens. To me, everything starts to happen down here somewhere. Still working on placement, but
Yeah. But you can feel it in this area.
and it's so effective.
Yeah.
It's so good at gathering raw data, and it doesn't remember the name of the book or any of the specific words, but the emotional concept. So now I guess my brain is starting to try to kick back on and start to, because you need your brain to use language, I think.
Yeah.
Language is not.
So what chakra is that it's hovering around?
I'm pointing at my solar plexus,
I think it's your core star.
but there's something in between solar plexus and whatever the heck the one below your belly button is that's back in here. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's 4.5. Well, I guess that would be 5.5.
It's that blank space
Yeah.
in between judgment.
I gave myself a 3 because I don't see myself as being logical at all. But I appreciate that perspective of it because I have my own logic that is very logical, actually.
Makes all the sense.
Yeah. I pursue truth like I'm dying of thirst and it's fresh water. And I utilize personal experience to better understand the world around me. I utilize the blank space of my personal experience to better understand the world. So that's why I gave myself a 3, because I do not use my personal experience, but I do. It's just I use my understanding that my personal experience is a big lie. The blank spaces. What I know I'm missing almost everything, so therefore I look for the spaces between. I don't know. That's really confusing and abstract, but that was the thought process.
That's cool.
Yeah. Boy, the things we learn about ourselves.
And each other.
Like I said,
Yeah,
the things we learn about ourselves.
Okay, my card says, what's something you feel that is missing from your life right now? The first thing that pops into my head is financial security.
Cash.
Cash.
Yeah.
Cash poor.
Oh, that's fair. That would
That's
pop into your
taking
head.
up a lot of my brain space right now. Just trying to figure out the money flow.
Yeah.
It's part of growing up.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's
Yeah.
true.
It's the foundation of the dysfunction.
Ooh, this is a nice one. Reformer. Driven by purpose, you hold high standards and work to bring integrity and improvement. though you can be overly critical of yourself and others.
I don't even need to
I
read
already know.
more.
You already have voted on me? Wow, nobody even needs to see that. I feel like this is something important. Okay. Mark, you get to start.
Don't take
with
it
your
personally.
critique.
So I went for 5, even if yes, 5. It's it's spot on. It's who I see you as. You're on purpose. You hold high standards and work to bring integrity to it. Like I've seen you doing that all day today. Need a longer cable. We need the battery charged. You just made sure that the podcast recording has integrity. Your speaking has integrity. Your whole being has integrity. So, and it's it does come across as being critical
Yes.
sometimes
Yes.
of yourself and others. So it's like bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
So that's 5.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a 5 too. And the only difference of opinion that I have with Mark is around critical. So again, I'm looking at the derivation of the word and the various definitions, and critical also means important. So when something is critical and you are being critical, I'm going to say that is the height of your integrity, is making sure that those critical joints and pieces that need to be in place in order for things to work in a harmonious and loving way is very important to you. And how the recipient receives the critical part of you is actually their problem. Because you, in my opinion, my experience of you, come from a well of love and space and non-judgment. So there.
I accept.
I, on the other hand, chose a 5 because this exactly describes you. Driven by purpose. You are a human of purpose. Yeah. You have to have purpose in everything you do. I feel like that's changing. Or maybe my understanding of purpose is changing. I don't know. You hold high standards and work to bring integrity and improvement. Boy, howdy. And you come by it honestly, too.
Yeah, you guys should meet my mom. She also
Probably someday we will.
You are incredibly critical of yourself. Also a part of you that's changing. I'm just watching it change.
I also chose 5. But I want to when you said that there is another definition of critical, or the base of critical, that also reminded me that there's the base of critique. That doesn't always necessarily mean a negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am always highly critiquing myself, not necessarily from a place of self-loathing or negativity, but like I just want to be better at it. It's like, I could have done that better. And that I think that sometimes it has come from a negative place, but sometimes it's just a movement forward of recognizing spaces that are, that have spaces of growth.
Yeah.
To have a space of growth.
So I'm curious, when you are, I could have done this better, do you then have a follow-on thought of how?
Oh, absolutely. Every time.
Yeah, I suspected, but...
Yeah. I mean, if I can't see a way to do it better, I often don't have that thought. Like I did it the best that I could think of.
And then how often is the having done it informing how you could do it better? Like before you've done it, you didn't know how to do it. You did it, and then you discover new ways of doing it. So now you could have done it better. How often does that occur? Like you just discovered something new.
Yeah, I think I've gotten better at forgiving the version of myself that made the best decision possible in that moment. I'm also a heavy researcher, so if I'm doing something that I'm not familiar with, I try to give myself as much information as I can before I even begin.
Well, of course, obviously.
And then and then if I find out and then if I find out something after the fact that would have been helpful to know, I don't look back at that person and be like, well, you should have known.
Right.
I didn't know. And I've gotten better at not looking at that negatively.
Cool.
But I do say, oh, that would have helped the process, or, if I'm going to build that thing again, I'm going to know that that's going to be helpful, or if I'm going to,
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Cool.
I have a new view of my critic as well.
So do I.
Yes, very much so. And I was kind of like, wait, does that mean my perspective of this is changing? But I think I have a negative connotation to some words that maybe don't have an inherently negative connotation.
Or that maybe
Language.
do, but we have the power to change.
Maybe it's been given a negative connotation, but it itself does not innately have one, right?
Right.
It in itself has no innate anything.
And it doesn't.
Exactly.
And it in itself, it doesn't have to.
Therefore, it doesn't
mean
have a
that
negative connotation.
forever.
The thing is that humans are meaning-making machines. So
Oh,
what
boy.
kind of meaning would you prefer to have?
What do you mean by that?
What do you make it mean?
Anything I want. Because it's nothing. No word has any innate meaning, right? Mark just said so. I'm quoting Mark now. No word means anything actually in and of itself.
Right.
Well, it all comes down to...
Now I'm not the only one saying
Depends
it.
on what
We
your
agree.
Wait, what was that? It depends on what your definition of it is. Is that was like during the Bill Clinton
But that's
thing.
also very
It
true.
is clearly only interpreted by Stephen King. There are no other interpretations any longer.
Now I'm thinking about the Dark Tower.
Okay.
I'm not going to start down there.
It's Mark's turn.
Shall I read?
Oh, wait. Before you read,
Oh, yeah, we
you
need to change
are
the
going to be the
focus.
focus.
We
Oh.
forgot to move it for me.
We need to move it each time. Okay. Name a book, movie, or song that has had a profound impact on you.
Doesn't include TV shows, does it?
Well, movie.
I mean, you can change the question. We've already just established
yes,
that.
The challenge really is this a book or a movie or a
Yeah, how
song?
can you pick a one?
Yeah, that's the real challenge.
Maybe you could just pick one and then tell us why. It doesn't have to be
The one.
the one.
All right. So, well, okay, I do need to.
He's got to redefine the question.
I do.
Na, 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 na.
No,
na.
okay, but even if I pick just one, I have to give the reason for why it's that one that I picked.
Yes, you do.
Right.
And we're going to judge you because we're going to be like, what about all the other ones?
Yes.
But only in the game.
Right. So what I'm
Right,
going
when
to
we leave
so-
the studio.
No more judgment.
No, wait. So no, wait. I've got the solution, right? To avoid being blamed for the one I pick, I'm going to pick the one that's the earliest. So it's not even me.
Okay.
The earliest book, movie, film, or song that I remember that had a profound impact on me is what I'm going to answer.
I like that you changed the question to make it harder for yourself. This is great.
So it's not even a book, a movie, or a song.
We would expect nothing less.
See?
It's a framed painted tile with a story associated with it.
Perfect.
Okay, and on the tile is a flying carpet, beautifully rendered flying carpet with a small baby on it, and the baby is me. And the story my mother told me about it is that's the flying carpet on which I was delivered, and it has a little Mark Cerus, my name, and then the date and time that I was born, and that was a little memento that was in the house we lived in. I don't know where the tile is now. I still think I have it. But that had a profound impact on me. Like there was some place I came from and I'm now here. Like there was a beforeness. Before then, I wasn't who cares? But now there's a beforeness. Before I was born, I was someplace, and then this carpet brought me here. And whoa, where was I before? Oh my goodness. That was pretty cool.
How old were you when you realized this beforeness?
That's a really good question, right? So what I got was that was a profound image, like that came up in this question. The beforeness was actually only 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Does that make sense? Like, it's only 2 weeks ago that I had the wherewithal to put words to why that was such an impactful image.
But then you had that feeling of the beforeness before 2 weeks ago.
Just not the language for
Just
it.
not the language.
Yeah.
for it.
Like, here was this picture. It
Gotcha.
was profound. I was moved, like it was earth-shaking, right? And until 2 weeks ago, I really didn't have this beforeness experience. But now that this question is here, it's like,
That's
oh,
beautiful.
these two things are correlated. Like,
So how old were you when you had that experience?
the tile would have been explained to me when I was, I'd say 3 or 4.
It had that feel.
Yeah.
And the feeling accompanied it, because otherwise you wouldn't still have it.
Right. It'd be just like that memory thing. Like,
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
some things are just seared into your memory.
Yeah.
So that image, that tile, and that story is like, I'll never get rid of that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you answered it not the way that it was written, because that was a much more interesting answer.
What archetype? It says libertarian.
Ooh.
All right. What does libertarian say here?
Would that be in the philosopher's deck?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Appreciate.
Do you need light?
I could read it here.
Sure. Go ahead. Please read it. Then I can experience being read.
Says, advocate of individual freedom and choice. You hold that true strength comes from the right to shape your own path over any imposed fate.
Thank you.
How are you
Want
going
me
to
to read
edit
it
all
to you
this?
again?
No, it's good. Thank you.
I'll let you know.
What was your question?
How is he going to edit all
I
this?
was literally
It might take us a little while.
just thinking about that, and then I stopped thinking about it, because what's the point? I'm not editing it right
Well,
now.
you gave it to me.
I'm just enjoying it. No, that
You
I
gave
think
me
I
the
did.
thought.
Yeah. See, telepathy is real.
It's real.
You already knew. I'm just figuring this all out.
All right.
I'm editing in my mind, you know.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Totally.
then that's the way her brain works too. I'm just here,
Just like
loving that. The clock says 5 hours and 4 minutes.
That has to be the opening statement.
Yeah. This 1 hour is a condensation of 5 hours of conversation.
Oh, and we won't put out 1 hour. There's too much good stuff in here.
Yeah.
We might put out 3 episodes.
And now that I'm starting to know how to use Adobe Premiere,
Oh yeah.
it's going to make it so much easier to edit. I just had to get a 2 terabyte drive to work off of, because
Yeah.
it just, even with my MacBook Pro that's probably what, 2 years old, it just, I have to
Chugging
restart it
through.
sometimes. It starts
Yeah.
to bog down and freeze up.
Yeah. The
But, you know, the cash flow. So.
Yeah, it was-
Well, but there's some things
we
that
need
you just gotta-
cameras. We need
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff.
There are things called,
We need a
you know, like
studio.
crowdfunding
And monetizing a podcast.
We're going to
monetizing your
be switching over to
podcast, exactly.
sponsorships
Uh-huh.
for
Yeah.
episodes.
Mhm.
I think it's your turn to tell me.
Oh,
You get to judge
Oh,
Mark
you have to start.
on his
Oh, we get to
libertarianism.
Judge Mark.
okay.
This is not a
I always
political.
judge
This is
him.
not a political statement or party.
Judging Mark is not anything new for him or I. Let's see. Advocate of individual freedom and choice. Okay, I almost gave you a 5 on this, but I didn't because the right to shape your own path, because a big part of my experience of you, as we've been discussing over the last week or two, is your need to make sure I am okay and pleased, and then I have the experience that you are sacrificing something I really don't want you to sacrifice. So it would be a 5 if I had the sense and experience of you doing exactly what you wanted to do and it was harmonious naturally instead of trying to force it with me.
What if what he really wants to do is to also have a happy Adrienne by his side?
I think he does want to have, like, honestly, but my experience has been that part of his personality, he destroys himself in order for that to happen. So he gives up stuff that I don't think he should give up in order for me to. And besides that, trying to have another person have a certain experience by you doing whatever is counterproductive, because that person is doing, so in my case, what I'm doing is navigating all the shit that's in my head and my heart and my soul. And some of it I may never sift through, and it may never, ever become harmonious. And I'm kind of okay with that. But I don't know that the rest of the world is okay with that. It's sort of like the conversation we were having earlier, and you're like, no, I want those experience. I want those feelings because I haven't, well, for whatever reason. For me, it's because I don't allow myself to feel them. I immediately go to heroics and sacrifice. Martyrdom. And, but I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, for a long time, I didn't feel any of them. I didn't even know what they were called.
Yeah.
So now I want to know. I want to feel them. I want to tease them apart.
Yeah. And I just don't want other people to sacrifice any. I've done too much. I know what it's like. I know what it does to your personality and you know, all of that stuff. So by the same token, though, I'm also learning that he's not who I think he is. Nor am I who I think I am. Turns out.
I mean, that is what every advertisement for this game says.
Well, that's spot on. No wonder you bought it.
Know thyself.
And it's guaranteed to fail.
The game?
Yes, because you can't know yourself.
Yeah.
Under that premise.
Guaranteed to be endless fun.
Well, okay, that's another way of saying it. Yes,
That's another way of saying fail. Endless fun.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
I said 5 because you don't want any. You want, in your ideal reality, there's no laws. How do you like my treatment of?
No, that's
Wow.
That's really good.
I mean, but in all seriousness, like, that is what I immediately thought of, was that whole question there about what would you do if there were no laws, which you changed, you know. But everything that I've ever heard you say or seen you do feels to me like you are a person. Not only that, but you guys are freedom. Play. Okay. Harmony.
Love.
No. You. It's like the big motivator from kind of the growing up in the past. I feel like freedom is obviously important to you, like of supreme importance to you, and everything about this card, I feel like that describes you from everything I know. Fate, I bet you don't even believe in fate, much less want. True strength comes from the right to shape your own path over any imposed fate. Yeah, I think that describes you. All right, that was a lot of words to just say that. Great.
Maybe sometimes all we need to do is read the card, and we wouldn't be here for 5 hours and 30 minutes.
Well, then it's missing the whole point of the game.
That's true.
What fun would that be?
The game of podcasting.
Game. I also chose 5. And what I think is interesting about this, I'm going to steal this too, is because the reason Adrienne didn't give you a 5 is the reason I gave you a 5. But I don't know you quite as well. But I think that idea that strength comes from the right to shape your own path. I feel like that every piece of what you've said, even just today, from being considered your word, Renaissance person, you follow you've listed like 5 different things that you do. You guys follow your whimsy and open a game playing shop where people can just come play. You know, it's just like neither of you have chosen to live a life that is prescribed at all. Like to make a life that fits just who you are and what you're interested in. Instead of being like, I work at the bank. Maybe, I mean, some people probably love working at the bank, but, you know, it's just, instead you are creating a life that follows your whimsy and your interest.
All while wearing a leather top hat.
All while wearing a leather top hat, yeah.
Yes, totally. I create a life in which I can wear a leather top hat.
Exactly, yeah.
In which I do wear one.
Personal freedom.
Yep. Thank you. All right. I think I put 4 down. Oh, wait, it says 5. Now, what's going on here?
He said they're very loose.
Oh,
Yeah. I think it's whilst I believe what it says, I don't necessarily advocate. That's,
Which part?
For individual freedom.
yeah, I don't advocate of individual freedom and choice.
not even with your actions, not even in how you walk through the world.
To me, advocacy is a proactive piece of work. I advocate for this. I speak for this. I let you know this is what I'm after, and this is what I'm.
It's like an
asking.
action word.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
what I'm. It's what
Okay.
I'm advocating for. I'm saying, you know, you have a choice, and you should choose, because that way you have a life that follows your path and not your fate. Now, I definitely embody that, but I'm not so sure that I really advocate it. So that's the only reason why I would have this slight.
So we have to define advocate.
Yes, we do.
You think it's a proactive action, like I'm going to stand in front of city council and say this thing until that law changes, or is abolished?
That will be advocacy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, advocate to me feels like there's a third party. It's an advocate. It's like you have somebody who advocates for you.
Right.
That's a very
Or on
active
your
thing.
behalf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
Okay.
Yep.
I just skipped right over that word. It didn't even factor into my scoring.
Right. Now, and the other piece of it is that it makes clear what I'm advocating for. Rather than, oh, you see me in a top hat. Wow, that's cool. I want to do that. Right. No, I stand on a soapbox and I say, I'm wearing this top hat as a demonstration of you can make your own choices and wear top hats. Right. So you can make that assumption, which wouldn't be incorrect, but I'm not advocating it.
Right.
I'm showing it, I'm demonstrating, which are all great things as well.
Couldn't that be argued to be a form of advocacy, though?
No.
No. Okay. I'm going to look it up later.
That's one of our cats.
I hear, and
They
they're wanting
never come
something.
down here. It's Montana. She wants
wants you?
Michael. She's obsessed with Michael.
We have an enmeshed relationship for sure.
Okay. All right.
No. Gallows humor.
Indeed.
She really likes me.
All right. So thank you.
I really
that
like
was
her.
insightful. And it gives me a word.
You are not an advocate. Got it.
No, but I am a libertarian.
All I. It's time to change the party.
Yep.
It's interesting because the thing it gives me is freedom around being an advocate. Like I always doubt. I'm like, oh, I'm not really an advocate. I'm not as active as I need to be and blah, blah, blah. But that's horseshit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's words. Very awesome.
Okay, back with the reading glasses. Here we go. Do I have to pick from the top?
Nope.
You pick whatever you want. There's even piles over here.
I think I'm going for the bottom.
You can even pick mine if you want.
I almost could, but I'm not going to. Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
What's a lesson you've had to learn the hard way?
All of them.
No.
I'm like going, okay.
Yeah.
Through the file. Oh.
I mean, is it a lesson if you have it? If you just were like somebody's like, "Hey, use tweezers when you take out a splinter." That's not really a lesson. That's just like information.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm answering your
Gotta
question.
read that. That's okay. You can keep talking for a while I think. Oh, upside down.
Maybe it's the lesson that you have had expressed repeatedly in your life because you haven't learned it.
I have an answer. I have an answer because I haven't learned this lesson yet.
It's still a learning module.
I'm still in the learning mode, but my family has been particularly keen about giving this lesson to me, which is that I'm an amazing human being with amazing skill sets who really contributes to the world and makes a difference in people's lives. And I reject that. Not 100%. But that's my whole focus of my life. You would think that I would be able to embody that. I have not learned that lesson yet. So, working on it. Maybe.
Well, at least
Isn't the language learned the hard way?
yeah.
But I
This
took
is
it
not-
to...
Change
Learned.
it to learning.
Okay.
You changed
changed
the whole
yours.
lesson.
I'm just.
Altered one word.
I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just making sure that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. You're saying I'm still in the
I
process
think everything
of.
that I've learned up till now has, it probably was hard, but I don't remember that. It's kind of like giving birth. I don't remember the pain of that, but I do know the pain of accepting how other people perceive me, because it's the thing I most want. It's so obvious, right? The way I live my life and the work that I do and the things that I put out in the world, the way I engage with people, it is so obvious to everyone but me, which is kind of how it goes with some gifted folks, I suppose.
It's hard to see yourself from the outside because
Yeah.
you know all the turmoil on the inside too, and it's hard to.
Yeah, and
Separate that
I'm kind of still stuck with this this concept. When Dad molested me at 5, the only way I had to explain it is that I was such a wrong thing that he thought he had permission to do that. Like whoever I was as that child gave him what he needed to do those bad things to me. So, living with that and knowing that that's what I'm living with, but not able to crack that nut yet is really interesting, but not in a fun way. Yeah, most of the rest of the interesting in the world is fun. This one is not fun.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to explain. Like what my dad experienced as a child was even worse than what I experienced, and I experienced some pretty bad stuff. How could someone who's gone through that experience deliver that to another child? So I'm left with that question. How could that even happen? So that's why this is a very interesting game to me as well. And it's really why I do all the work I do, and why I love murder mysteries, like the psychological thrillers and the whole why are people compelled to do these terrible things to each other and then to the world? And why are we compelled to be so, it's the again, back on the sidewalk, when you're choosing, do I choose everything that's in my head that I
Safety.
have said was true up until this point, or do I choose
Not
something
knowing.
different?
The jump into the complete
Yeah.
unknown.
Yeah.
And at what point did my brilliant dad, who was really talented, and he gave me many, many wonderful things, but the thing he took away was so fundamental, and it had been taken away from him too. But I reacted differently. Now, why? Why am I so different from him in terms of choices that I've made even as a child up until, So what's the difference? What's that fundamental difference? And I'm not satisfied, so I haven't learned whatever lesson there is in that to learn yet, but at some point I'll get to it. I'm going to ask you to give me the top card from the other. Thank you. Okay. Let's see.
Oh, that feels so reminiscent to the question Mark asked me of what the starting point was. It feels like that's the same. That's what you're looking for. What was the thing? What was the thing that? Interesting.
How did you turn off that path?
Why did I? Yeah.
Investigator. A seeker of knowledge, introspective and perceptive. You search for truths, but can become secretive, detaching emotionally to stay in control.
Sounds like some resignation slash.
The eyes have it all.
Oh, I have to go first.
Well, we already know what you picked because you didn't even turn your dial.
I at least faked it one with him.
But I had a question
But I know
mark.
how to be
Yeah.
deceptive.
But I had a question mark because I feel like obviously you're a seeker of knowledge for so many reasons, and in so many ways it comes out in everything you say. In my experience so far, in the twice times I've talked to you. Introspective and perceptive. Clearly. You search for truths. Yes, but can become secretive. It feels like that's true about you, but I don't know that. It's a pure judgment based on my intuition from whatever experience. Detaching emotionally to stay in control. I feel like that probably describes you to some degree because you are a victim.
Had been.
That too.
Yeah.
But it feels so wrong to answer it a 5 because I have no idea if this is true about you. Whoops.
And yet you do. Because we're all one.
Yeah, that's true.
We're all connected. Yeah. I have skill sets that allow me to detach, and it started with the dissociation at 5. I have extreme skill sets.
I mean, how could it be otherwise?
Well, I also have a problem with boundaries in certain situations. So when I was reading tea leaves, my daughter has Whimsy Supper Club, and she does these tea parties, and we did a year of events together, and my job was to be the reader, the seer, and my grandmother had read tea leaves, and so it all fit, right? She has these tea parties, I read tea leaves. I became so overwhelmed by that process, by what I was experiencing with the people who chose to get readings at those things, that I had to quit because I didn't have a boundary.
Well, now you know how to do it. Sleek. Bubble.
I know. That's why I was going to share this earlier, because of the bubble thing. I'm like, maybe I could do it again because people love it. But I am exhausted at the end of that experience.
Because you are an open conduit.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's a raw feeling.
It is. Yeah, it is. And, there's a lot of gratitude that goes with it because you are giving a gift away.
Yes. At what cost?
Well, then it was the cost of my own internal peace and harmony, which seems to be a theme. All right. So anyway,
I picked 5. I feel like all of the language that you use points to a deep curiosity about anything, whatever you can get your hands on. And so this you are, I think you are an ultimate seeker, investigator, curiosity-minded person. I agree with Michael that I don't necessarily know of you, that means that you pull, I'm going to use different words, but like pull away or try to create control. I don't get that feeling from you. Trauma always creates a space for how can I control my environment.
Yeah.
But a lot of the growing part of growing out of trauma is learning to let go of those pieces. So I don't know how much of that is still a part of your story, but
all of it.
The investigation piece, I feel like is very, the investigator part feels very true.
Yeah.
True enough to say 5, even though there are words on there that I don't know if they fit or not.
Okay. I think I did 5. Yep. Yes. I mean, it's just yes. I can read the card. I will do that. Investigator. A seeker of knowledge, introspective and perceptive. You search for truths, but can become secretive, detached emotionally to stay in control. Detaching emotionally to stay in control. Yes.
Perfect.
That's funny. So I was a 5 as well. And the thing that you guys don't know, or you haven't experienced yet, or you might have a sense around it, but not like a concrete experience, is the detachment. And what happens is kind of like the overwhelm, the mental overwhelm. That's when I detach, because I have to. The sense of when I am overwhelmed with emotions, like in the tea readings that I was doing, or when I'm in a room and I'm in the crowd and there's all this cacophonous stuff and I can't focus on a thing to get me grounded, I feel like I'm going to just disintegrate, and I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm just not ready to not be here yet. There's going to come a point where that's going to be the choice, but not right now. So the emotional guarding, the sense of control that I get is that I'm keeping my cellular self together, and that I'm not going to disintegrate right in front of people's eyes, which might look like a collapse in a dead body, but there's something being dispersed like spores in a mushroom, and I'm not ready to release my spores yet. So there.
Like your energy spores?
Life, whatever life is, whatever this existence is, those spores, I'm not quite ready to.
So are those the only 2 options you have when you're in that state of overwhelm and cacophony around you?
Until now, yeah. Until I got the bubble.
That's what it feels like. It feels like those are the only 2 options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just checking.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they're not the only options because I'm still alive, and somehow I get back to myself and I'm able to function again to whatever degree that I function. But in my mind and my experience, those are the only 2.
Right.
It's very black and white.
So you either everything bounces off you, or
It's not a
destroys you.
bouncing. It's a me disappearing.
Okay.
It either all infiltrates or you have to pull yourself out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
That's
you.
the dissociative piece that I learned at 5.
Mm.
What was happening to me and my body through the auspices of this person that I loved and trusted was so overwhelming that I had to leave. And I have that skill set. It probably allowed me to experience the father and child, that thing that came from a circumstance that nobody would wish on their worst enemy. It gave me that power. So like you with all your experiences, it has led to this moment. This moment is precious, and what we get to do together now, pretty unbelievable.
What are the chances
I
of
think
even
that-
existing?
Yeah.
But ultimately, in my research so far, it seems like every fear ultimately is the fear of death. Like all fear, any fear that there is, ultimately is the fear of death. It's always a fear about the future. It's never about right now. It's always about the future, and it's always ultimately, if you chase it all the way down the rabbit hole, you're gonna find it's actually just being afraid of dying or disappearing or whatever, just the non-existence.
It's an interesting premise, and I have to say that for most of my life, I probably stood in that place. But as I'm approaching however many years I have left, I'm starting to see the sense of the interpretations of, say, the Native Americans' version of death, which is an ascension. It's an expansion. It's you become an ancestor, and in the world of being an ancestor, you are the source of life. So all of my ancestors, all the women who are always with me, they're not gone. Death gave them this new opportunity in that experience. Whether or not it's true is immaterial.
To lift your wings.
To lift my wings, to give me an opportunity to be the contribution I want to be versus the life I could have had. I mean, I literally could have not walked out of Wounded Knee. I could have been murdered there because I was a brash 12-year-old child who screamed at the top of her lungs when they were taking her horse. I saw somebody riding my horse. And I ran out of where they were holding us, the cabin, my uncle's cabin, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, get off my horse, get off my horse. And the only thing that saved me was Russell Means, who said, do not shoot. You know, he's right behind me, do not shoot. Because they were ready. You could hear the guns click. So, this is precious, what we have.
And you experience it in a little bit more of a visceral way than a lot of people because of your proximity with death at many times through your life.
Yeah. And destruction. I mean, you know, little deaths or big deaths or different kinds of deaths, deaths of personality or deaths of dreams or dying in the sense of what is it to be a woman versus why do I want to act like a man? Right? So all of those births and deaths that happen throughout one's life, to me they're very, you're right, visceral is a great word.
My biggest fear is not that dying, it's the dying unfinished.
Yes, I have that one too. I have something to do and I'm not sure that I'm going to get to all of it.
Yep. That's the regret I would have.
What would that look like? Or what would it look like to that if that fear was not realized?
Like finish it
What
all.
do you need to finish?
What does it look like to
Good
finish
question.
it all?
So a world in harmony would be what I'm...
Oh, you are certainly bound for unfinished death. Oh my goodness.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Change can happen instantly.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
So, and, you know, a world in harmony, you can look at it like the whole planet is in harmony, or my family is in harmony, or my community is in harmony, my town, my city, my state is in harmony. All of those would be variations of planet in harmony. And not getting that would be my biggest fear.
What really occurs to me in this very moment is that all of that boils down to you having the experience of harmony.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
mine is the experience of freedom.
Right. So, good point. Like, so, and I can even take the case, if I've achieved harmony, then I'm complete. Because then that will, you know, like the musical instrument, like harmony begets harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is just a calling for getting in harmony with what's already in harmony.
This is why we click so well. I mean, the holographic universe concept is the same. It's or where go the least of us, there go we all.
Yeah.
You know, so I've wanted to focus on groups, but what I realize is that it's an individual's transformation. That is exactly that. It's the container for everyone to have that.
Right.
So in order for us to die satisfied, harmony
And freedom.
and freedom.
Yeah.
That makes it much easier for me.
Perfect.
Well, from that perspective, you have a very good chance of dying fulfilled.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, this was really a lot of fun.
A unique experience.
This was a brilliant way to
Spent 3 hours.
No,
five,
5 hours.
almost
Five.
6.
5 and a
We
half.
didn't spend all of the time on the game.
No, that's true.
No, but it was the centerpiece that set it all up.
You know what's hilarious is the scoring for this game is 10 rounds. So if the four of
Oh,
us
good
ever sat
God.
down and tried to actually finish this game,
But I don't think most people.
it
Holy
would be
moly.
a 24-hour experience.
I think we must be doing it wrong if it takes us that long.
Maybe.
This felt like the most right way to play this game that I've ever experienced. And what in my gameplay, I find that a game that is satisfying is only 1 or 2 rounds, or
Yeah.
3 at the most. It can't be more.
Yeah.
And if it's fast, it's not satisfying.
No, I
Yeah, if
agree.
you're trying to really
Yeah.
rush through it.
And that is in so many different ways, this conversation, this experience is so fulfilling in my quest to slow down and to be present.
Yep.
And my love, my curiosity for humans and what it makes you tick. What is it that you see when you look at, oh, it's so interesting. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Deeply satisfying.
Yeah.
Time to eat.
It is time
Yeah,
to eat.
it's time to eat.
All right,
right.
let's turn all these things off. Angela Cook of the Fundamental Sense Studio, Massage Therapy, and Mark and Adrienne of Conundrum House Experiences, Experience Makers. Thank you for sponsoring this conversation. And thank you for sitting in this room with us. We recorded for over 6 hours. It was so fun. The editing was crazy. I hope you enjoyed the pieces we pulled together for you. Remember, stay curious.